Well, you can either lift up a cross or have one dropped on you, right? There's no non-cross option in this world. You all know perfectly well that your idiot, immature hedonism is going to vanish in a puff of smoke at the first sign of trouble. You know that. And you know that it's thin gruel. That's why you're hedonistic and hopeless at the same time. You need something beyond that. Why? Because life in some ways is unbearable. And so you need something worth bearing to make it bearable. And life is very heavy load. And so that means you have to carry something very heavy to justify it. If you say the truth and nothing else, you'll have an immense adventure as a consequence. You won't know what's going to happen to you, and you have to let go of your clinging to the outcome. You have to let go. But the truth will reveal the world the way it's intended to be revealed, and the consequence for you will be that you'll have the adventure of your life. And the other part of that ethos is this, and it makes perfect sense to me. I can't see how it can be any other way, which is that whatever makes itself manifest as a consequence of the truth is the best possible reality that could be manifest, even if you can't see it. Think about the constellations and the names of the constellations and the idea that the skies were populated by gods. That was an externalization of our imagination, right? Projected out into the world. We were seeing the world through our imagination, and which is exactly how we do see the world. And as we proceed, we're better able to distinguish, let's say, what's imagination from what's objective world. But that doesn't mean the imagination disappears or that it's without value, because the imagination is part of what helps us, let's say, confront the future, because we do that with our imagination, and to compose things in possibility before we realize them in actuality. So for Jung, the world of gods just collapsed within, back into the imagination, and it was into the imagination that we had to go again to discover what we had lost, to discover these lost values.
You want to rebel against your parents? Cool. Do better. You want to rebel against society? Cool. Rebel by working harder than everyone else. That's the best form of rebellion. Sure, you can go and rebel against them by cutting school, not studying. That is a form of rebellion. And guess what? You're the one that loses. So instead of doing that kind of rebellion, rebel by winning. Rebel by getting smarter. Rebel by getting stronger. Rebel by working harder. That's the kind of rebellion you should do.
It doesn't matter what you just did. It doesn't matter. It doesn't count. The count now is 0. And that's what happens when you wake up in the morning. It doesn't matter what you did yesterday. It doesn't matter how far you ran yesterday. It doesn't matter the workout you did yesterday. It doesn't matter you got on the jiu-jitsu mats yesterday. It doesn't matter you got a promotion yesterday. You wake up today, the count is 0. And that means it's go time.
You're not going to change yourself overnight. You got to start small. You got to start small. Like a little thing, a little movement. That's what it takes. You're not going to do it all in one day. You're not even going to do it all in 1 week. You're not even going to do it all in 1 month. But you know what? It starts in 1 minute. And that minute is now.
You got to watch out for unutilized potential that you have as a human being. If you have unutilized potential as a human being, that's what ends up, in my opinion, becoming regret.
Mm-hmm. What if you could give away millions of dollars a year? Could you do some good with that? There's a prerequisite to that. You'd have to first have millions of dollars a year. Here's the trick. Anyone can do it. I have met people of every region, background, race, education level that have turned this financial thing around by a sheer act of their will. It's an intentional act to not be broke. You can get broke by no fault of your own, or you can get broke like I did, a fault of your own. Sometimes things happen to you that are out of your control, and it's not your fault. Staying there, however, is your fault.
When I was in my 20s, I went completely broke because I was stupid and I went into debt, up to my eyeballs buying real estate. And that taught me a lesson that stuck with me the rest of my life. I'm now 62, so I have lived 35 years with 0 debt. And that has given me the control of my most powerful wealth-building tool, which is your income. And it's easy to visualize this. If you had no payments and you were in control of your money with a written game plan where you're telling every dollar what to do, you could enjoy life and also invest aggressively and not be broke.
Perseverance and integrity are two of the most found character qualities in highly successful people. They're not necessarily smarter, they just don't freaking quit.
The more debt you carry, the slower you run towards being a millionaire. It's a math thing. Your most powerful wealth building tool is your income. And when you get rid of debt, your probability and speed by which you become wealthy is increased. Here's the deal. Your number one wealth building tool is your income. All of the millionaires that we interview, unless they inherited the money, which is very, very few of them, less than 10% of them inherited the money, did it by saving and investing their income. They did not give their income to Sally Mae. They did not give their income to Best Buy. They don't get screwed around and give their income to Lexus and Toyota and Ford and General Motors and American Distress and MasterCard. Who named that anyway? It's a mathematical thing. When you give your income to someone else, you don't have it anymore. Is this hard? This is hard, isn't it? And when you give your income away, you have given up your economic future. All for crap. For a stinking flat screen. And listen, let me just tell you, here's the deal. You know, of the number of people that start college, how many graduate? 52%. That's an investment in my future. Said the other 48% that are sitting at home with no freaking degree, but by God, they got the student loan debt. And you know how you get rid of Sally Mae? You either pay her off in full or you die. That's the only way that woman goes away. It's not bankruptable. It is not an investment in yourself to borrow, even if it is an investment. We don't borrow money for investments. We don't borrow money for investments. I don't teach people to borrow money. The borrower is slave to the lender. That's what this math says. When you give up your income, when you give your income away, you have nothing. All the money comes in. All the money goes out. But by God, we're sitting around counting our Discover points. Oh, we got airline miles. Oh, Sally Mae's been with us for 15 freaking years in our spare bedroom. All because we called it an investment. I don't understand why it's bad. It's bad because it's stupid and you're normal. 70% of the Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. That's stupid. Because you're living in one of the wealthiest countries the world has ever known, and there you sit like a rat in a wheel, run. Why? Because student loans are an investment and I'm going to Best Buy. This is just stupid. It's stupid on steroids. Really, seriously, you've got to stop and think. A level of people's ability to do critical thought is almost zero. Good Lord. I get airline miles. Said no millionaire ever. Really. Millionaires do. I met with thousands and thousands of millionaires. I've never met one that said, you know, Dave, I made my money with my airline miles. Oh, those Discover points broke me through financially. Hey, let's do the math, okay? You know how you get $1,000 back from Discover? You spend $100,000. How does spending $100,000 to get $1,000 back ever make you rich? Where did you take your math class? Really? This is absolutely ludicrous. But everybody's counting their dadgum points, and everybody's trying to figure out some way I'm beating up on Chase. Chase is kicking your butt. Their building's bigger than yours, and their furniture's nicer than yours. You ought to have a clue by now. At the car payment. I got a car payment bigger than your house payment, some of you. The average car payment in America now is $499. That's suspiciously like $500. If you take $500 a month and invest it from age 30 to age 70, you'll have, would you believe it? You're going to have over $5 million. And you scratch your head and wonder why you're freaking broke. God, no wonder your students have student loans, because you're driving a dadgum $1 million car, $2 million, $3 million car. That's what it's costing you with your stupid car payment to impress somebody at a stoplight that you will never meet, and the thing's going down in value like a rock. We have to stop and think, America. You have to think instead of sitting around eating Skittles and watching Oprah reruns. This is stupid.
We're fat and we're broke because we have no ability to do critical thought and we don't stop and look at what we're putting into our lives. This is nuts. It's nuts. It's completely out of control. I mean, the number of people I've talked to just today with $25,000 and $30,000 owed on their stupid car. It's a car. Good God, it's a car. What does it do? It takes you from here to there. Now, I don't mind you having a $25,000 car. All of my cars cost more than $25,000, but I freaking paid for them, and they're a very small percentage of my life, a very small percentage of my income. Think. Seriously. So, credit cards, stupid. Student loans, stupid. Car payments, stupid on steroids. Borrowing money on your house to put granite countertops in. Somebody ought to smack you. That's stupid. It's stupid. You have to stop and think again. It's because you're killing yourself. You make enough money to retire a millionaire or a multimillionaire. You make enough money that your kid ought to have a college fund fully funded and they can go to school without being part of the freaking student loan crisis. But by God, you had to have a bass boat so you're $32,000 in debt because those fish were outrunning you. God, think. Quit being grown-up children walking around in grown-up bodies. Children walking around in grown-up bodies. Adults devise a plan and follow it. Children do what feels good. This ridiculous, impulsive nature of we think we're going to borrow our way into wealth it's out of control, guys. We've got to stop this.